So here we are back at Nick's place for part 2 of the ongoing problems with the Kawasaki KLR 650. Over to you, Nick.
Hiya, welcome back. We finished off by on the last video when we took these balancer chain guides out, and they were totally, as you can see, they were totally destroyed. We were trying to figure out why. Anyway, in the meantime, I've ordered some new ones, and as promised, I'm going to show you the difference between what they should look like and what they've ended up looking like. So I've got the new one on the right and the old one on the left. As you can see, that came adrift. And we look at the guides themselves. On the new one, you can see the material. On the old one, it's been totally knocked off, worn away. The chain's dug into the metal, totally destroyed it. Same again on this end, absolutely destroyed. Chain's eaten right through it. This is the new one, so we're going to fit that one. This is the other one. This had very little wear on it. We'll give you, here's the new one. You probably can't see any difference on that, because, to be honest, there isn't a right lot of difference. You can just about see scars where the chain had run over the old one. Worn it a little bit, but not much at all. Right, so we'll get these fitted and see if they make any difference. Okay. Alright, we're back with this KLR 650 that had the badly worn balancer chain guides. As I said in the first part of the first video, I wanted to know why this adjusting mechanism wouldn't adjust the chain anymore. It basically run out of compression on the spring. So what we did, we removed these guides. I've shown you the condition they were in. I've shown you the new ones compared to the old ones. Now what I was going to show you was fitting these guides with the old chain, see if it made any difference. Now, unfortunately, we've lost that piece of video, but I can tell you now it made little difference. It did make a very small amount of difference, but not much. So really I concluded that, yeah, contrary to what I said, that chain had worn pretty bad. So I bought a new one, and this is it fitted, and it's done the job basically. When you fit these chains, you're just going to have to make sure that you synchronise the balancing weights properly. And if you can see on the end of this weight, there's a tiny little dot at the end of the screwdriver in between the two ends of the clip. That's got to correspond with the centre of these two silver links. It's got to be pointing between them. Also, when this engine's set at top dead centre, which it should be to do this, on your crankshaft you've got a little mark here, but you've also got the corresponding one underneath. Now this is pretty hard to see with it built up. We'll put a bit of light on it and try and show it you. It's under here somewhere. Where are we? It's here at the end of my screwdriver. Now that dot has to point between, if we move to the old chain so you can see it, here's the two silver links that the first dot has to be in the centre of. The crankshaft has to be in the centre of this single silver one here, so the crankshaft dot has to line up here. And if we go back to the engine, this is going to be hard to see as well. On the end of this shaft, this balancer weight shaft, there's another dot at the end of my screwdriver. Now that's got to point between these two silver links here. So it's got to point directly between them. We'll go back to the old chain again. So we'll start just from the beginning. The first two silver links, that's the first balancer weight shaft dot position. Then you go along to the single silver link, that's your crankshaft dot position in the centre there, and then the two I've just shown you on the back, these two, the dot has to point directly between those two there. that synchronises your crankshaft with both your balancer shaft weights. So that's done properly. Right, to recap, we put new guides in, we put a new chain on, and we've synchronised the chain. So let's go back to this spring now. If you remember in the first video, when this spring was in place, the mounting point for the spring on the adjuster was here. It was about that position, and the spring wasn't doing anything, it was slack. So let's see where we end up now. Right, straight away you can see it's going to have to be stretched into position, so something's happening. There it is on. Now if I zoom in on this spring now, you can see the gaps between the coils. Between every coil there's a good gap, and that spring is very taut. Now if I can just push back on this, it's very hard to push now, look. It's absolutely doing its job as that spring. I suspect that spring now is back to somewhere near the tolerance of it when it was manufactured, when the bike was manufactured. It's probably back to how it was set at the time. It's taken all the slack out of the chain, we've got a good firm chain. So, what I have done, I had a shorter spring made. I'm very lucky that in the town where I live we have a spring manufacturer, and he made me this spring just in case. It doesn't look like I'm going to have to use it. Got a good job there. So really the conclusion to this, I started out asking the question why had that stopped working. You know, what had worn to make this stop working. Now we found really bad guides. They weren't a cause, they were a consequence of what happened. What actually happened was, from the day this bike started running, this chain, obviously, started wearing. And it wore that bad that after every adjustment, taking up the slack, it got to the point where it just couldn't, this spring could not take up any more slack. And at that point, the chain had worn out. The chain had, it was useless. Now, I've seen a lot of videos where the upgrades fitted on these bikes, once you cannot use this spring anymore. Yeah, it works, it definitely works. But I can't help thinking it's papering over the cracks. You know, you basically finding a way of getting a bit more tension rather than curing the actual problem. You know, my suggestion really, once you can't adjust with your original spring anymore, yes, buy the upgrade by all means, because I personally think it's a good thing. But repair the problem as well, because on this bike the problem wasn't repaired. So that chain had run slack and bouncing about for so long that it destroyed the guides by clattering against them. It was clattering and banging against them, and it destroyed them. And it very, very nearly destroyed this engine. So all I can say is, when you're doing this job, check your guides, make sure they're alright. Before you fit your upgrade, get a new spring. That spring cost me £100. Sorry, get a new chain. That chain cost me £100. The guides were about 45 quid. You know, so less than 200 quid. You know, you've saved the engine's life. And look at that, the original spring still works. Now, as I said at the beginning, I will still fit the upgrade. I will still be fitting the upgrade to this bike. I won't put that on a video because there's loads of videos about that out there. So I hope this has helped somebody. You know, if your chain's worn out, change it. Because if you don't change it, your guides are going to wear out. And when that happens, you know, at some point, you're just going to destroy your engine. So don't wallpaper over the cracks. Mend what's wrong. Thanks for watching. Alright, we're going to have some upcoming videos of some repairs on this rather nice little TY 250. It's a 1978 and we're going to be doing some work on it soon, so please watch out for the videos on it. Thank you.
Also, another upcoming video will be on this Talbot Express camper van, and we're going to show you how to change the CV joint on it, so watch out for that as well, please. Bye for now.